Hey guys, teaching in this pandemic is already stressful for a lot of our teachers. We've been forced to step out of our comfort zones in a lot of ways. Many of us are struggling to keep up with all the new tools and technologies that are available to us. So if we find a tool that is simple to use and free, then we want to jump on those immediately. So guess what? I found this really cool website called teachermade.com, and this allows you to digitalize any worksheet that you have, be it from a textbook that you use, your teacher edition, be it a PDF or any other file format that you found online that you want to use in your classroom. You can use this. So sit back and let me show you how quickly you can do this. In the example that I'm demonstrating, I use my iPhone. I use the Notes app in my iPhone to scan the document. If you're not using an iPhone, maybe you can find another PDF reader or scanner that you can use to scan pages, maybe from a textbook. So without any further ado, let's get into the tutorial. Go to TeacherMade, sign up for a new account, and follow the prompts. So here I'm creating a new worksheet. The different types of files you can use are JPEG, PNG, GIF, PDF, and Docs file, Word documents that is. So here I'm using a PDF. Once I have it uploaded, I'll click Create Worksheet. And once that loads, I'm now going to show you quickly what the options are. For insert, these are all the question types that you can use. It's amazing. You have the scoring option and help if you need. And on this bar, this is the shortcut for the different question types that you can insert. So for this example, I'm choosing the drop-down option, and I'm going to be using the same words as in the box because I would just want the students to choose their correct response. Once you insert your question type, click on edit the whatever it is. In this case, it will say edit drop down. If it were short answer, it will say edit short answer. You can choose how many points or whether or not you don't want this to be scored. And then you will put in your options, your answer options. Next, choose which is the correct response. You also have the option to shuffle the orders and save. Now I'm using the shortcut Control D to duplicate so that I don't have to recreate the drop-down options. But this is also the shortcut to create a bookmark. So hence the reason why you see that pop-up that's coming up. So once I click Control D, I'm just going to remove the bookmark because I don't want to add a bookmark. Again, as I said, that's just the same shortcut that you would use to create a bookmark. I'm going to go ahead and just duplicate these responses, and then I'll go into each one and change it to the correct response for that question. I'm going to use a different type. So I first use the drop-down option, and I'm now going to use a text box because I want the students to type their response for the last two options or the last two questions. Again, you will type what the correct response should be, and you have the option of whether or not you want the responses to match uppercase and lowercase in order for it to be correct. In this case, I don't want that, so I'm just going to type it all lowercase. I'm not going to select that option. When you're finished with your worksheet, you have the option to preview to see what it would look like on the student end. So I click on View and Preview. And once it loads, I can interact with it the same way that my students would. This is a good way for you to test to make sure that you have chosen the correct responses for each one. And I'm also going to test it out to see what it would look like if the students answered correctly and incorrectly. I'll click on Check My Answers, and you'll see that all the correct responses lit up green and the incorrect response lit up in red. And you see the scores right there. So I'm happy with my worksheet, so I'm going to reset this. I'll close out of the preview window. I'll also close out of this edit window because it's now time to assign this worksheet. So here, I'll click on Create an Assignment. Choose these settings. You can have your students type their names or ID or use their Google account to sign in. You don't need to use both of them, but if you're choosing to use your name or ID, you have to make sure that you type what their names are so that you're able to track to see who completed their assignments or not. Just know if you only select use a Google account, it's also going to pull up the students' names. For showing the score to the students, this is your option. I always like to make sure that students can see where they went wrong. I chose not to have the answers displayed so that avoid students sharing responses. Now you can share to Google Classroom. Now, here you will select the class that you want to assign this to and just follow the same procedures. You will rename it, and we all know how to create assignments in Google Classroom. Once you finish editing your assignment, click on View to see what it looks like. Make sure that you're okay with everything that is, maybe you can shuffle the order, whatever you want to do here. Let me show you quickly what it would look like on the student's end. So here the students click on the assignment. They click on the link. It opens in a new in a new tab. They type their name. Please make sure that pop-up blocker is turned off. So once they click Start, they have the option to save that for later or just continue. On the teacher's end, let me show you, as soon as the students log in, you're able to see the progress for each student. You'll also see the submission date and time once they're done. So we're going to go ahead and have this student complete the assignment. The student says, I'm done. They will then go back to Google Classroom, open the assignment, and click Mark as done. On the teacher's end, you're able to see the score and the date and time that the assignment was submitted. You can then go back to Google Classroom and you can enter the scores in here. If you have an option to split your screen, you can do so that you can see both windows at the same time. And that's how simple it is to use teachermade.com and digitalize any of your worksheets. Thank you for watching, and please remember to like, subscribe, and share. See you in the next round.